For Best Music Coach, my name is Dan, and you are watching a music teacher's reaction live and in real time to the Donkey Kong Country original soundtrack. I have heard this music before, but that being said, everything I say, do, talk about, teach, play on this here guitar, say out of this here mouth is going to be off the top of my head in the moment as we go. I have actually beaten this game in my life, and I've spent many happy hours playing this game, so this is going to be an absolute pleasure for me to rock and roll with you guys as we go. So with that being said, we're going to see if I can actually get these headphones. Yes, we've got headphones. We might have to pop this up a little bit just so y'all can see me. Well, here we go. We're going to figure it out. There we go. Let's pull this back. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. Okay, we got it. Sorted. Only this could be a little straighter. All right, let's get this thing rocking and rolling. We are gonna start with the opening fanfare. Let's do this thing. Ah. Can I just tell you that that opening fanfare sold me on that game the second I heard it? Let's see. It's a B flat major, so it's basically playing around, going 5, 6, 5, 3, 5, 6, 5, 3, 5, 6, 5, 3, 5, 6, over a B flat major chord. That's that opening fanfare right there as the, I think it was Revolution game, something with an R, got written across the screen in beautiful green letters. Now let's keep rocking and rolling. Oh, y'all didn't even see my tie. Look, I even got the tie and everything. Okay, let's keep it going with the theme. Oh. All right. Let's get that name back. Turn this guitar down a little bit. So much to say on this. Okay, so what's really interesting about this theme is it actually starts in F major and then it modulates indeed to the parallel minor. I don't know if it's the extra weight from this costume, but my chair keeps sliding down, so excuse me as I kind of bump up and down. Indeed, I'm gonna look like Donkey Kong, jumping over many things as we go here today. Now, what's really interesting is, like I said, this starts off in in F major. So do do be do stu be da do stu be di gu ba gi da do 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 be do sha be da do do gu ba shoo ba. And then it just kind of stays on F there. So right there we had do 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 be. We're actually gonna go back just the beginning of this theme to make sure I've got this 100% correct for you. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so right there it's F. So we're in the key of F major. So it's the chords are, well, let me pull it back for 1 second. In music, we associate letters with numbers and numbers with letters. So we have something called the basic musical alphabet. And the basic musical alphabet is A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Now, what's really cool about this is instead of going to H, we actually go back to A. So we go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And each time we say the next A, it's higher than the last A. It's higher sounding. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A is higher than the A first A. And then we go B, C, D, E, F, G, A. So we keep on going higher and higher up the musical alphabet. Now, what's really interesting is we actually tie numbers to these letters. So A could be 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5, F is 6, G is 7, and then when we say A, we go back to 1. Now here's what's really cool about music. We're gonna leave the letters in the same order, A, B, C, D, F, G. We're actually gonna change the number, where the number starts. So we're gonna start as F being 1, which means G is 2, A is 3, B is 4, C is 5, D is 6, and E is 7. Now, here's what's really cool is we can actually now use that to understand and quantify and codify the music that we just heard. So, F is 1, boo-dee-dee-da, to 6, D, doo-doo-dee, G is 2, to C, boo-dee-dee-da, 5, ba-da-da-dee, 3, boo-doo-dee-da, B, B flat in this case, which is 4, so 3 to 4, shoo-doo-dee-ba, 1. Goo-doo-gee-ba, 1. Now, here's what's really cool is now the music transitions. We get this beat, and it's so cool because you actually hear the sounds of Diddy Kong. When Diddy Kong gets hit by an enemy, I think in this, we're actually also hearing sounds of when you bounce on an enemy. We're hearing sounds, I think, when you bounce on one of the big alligator guys, and also when you have like the tires in the ground and you hit them. You know, when you see like those little dark patches on the ground and you hit it and then like a tire bumps up. We're hearing all these sounds. Yeah. Many different sounds from the games actually incorporated. So right here, now the chords are changing. Now it's starting on D minor. So D minor to B flat. So now D is going to be 1. So we've shifted where 1 is. Now D is 1, E is 2, F is 3, G is 4, A is 5, B is 6, and C is 7. So we have 1, which is D minor. Now we're going to 6, which is B, in this case B flat, but it's a type of B. To C, which is 7, flat 7. A minor, doo-doo-dee. And then F, which is going to be effectively be 3, back to 1. Now let's double check that because I think I might have missed a G minor in there. One, 6. There we go. 4, 7, 5, 6, flat 3, 1. Okay, so what's changing here is quite a few things, but some things are staying the same. Like in the second part of the melody, that's still an A minor to a B flat, but because D is now 1, we're not going to think of the A minor as 3, we're going to think of the A minor as 5. We're not going to think of the B flat as 4, we're going to think of the B flat as 6, because D is now our 1. So it's a very interesting thing, and there's actually this connection between F and D minor, and that's called the relative minor. So relative minor means it's all the same notes. All the same notes, all the same chords. We're just shifting where we're saying 1 is going to be. So, for example, if we look at the first part of this, it was F to D. to G, to C, to A, to B, to F. So we have an F, we have a G, we have an A, we have a B flat, we have a C, and a D. Now we take those same chords and we're just going to change the order of them for the second half of this theme. D. Now D is 1. Boo-doogie-da, B flat. G minor. Doo-doogie-da, ba-da-da-da, boo-doo-doo-da, boo-doo-doo-da, doo-doo-dee-da. And so the entire theme almost stays exactly the same, and indeed the chords almost stay exactly the same, except instead of starting and ending on an F major, it starts and ends on a D minor. Very cool stuff. Let's keep this going. D. All right. So I think this is looping now, so I'm going to start to break this down. Now, it's really interesting. What's really interesting here is that this starts off sounding like we're in the key of A, and indeed using an A7, going to a D7, which we would think of as being, from blues, which is, all fair game. But from the D7, we then hang out on the D7 for quite some time, and then go to a G7. So it's like the listener's ear, your ear, my ear, we start to associate the D as being the new 1, and then when the G comes along, it sounds like 4. There you go, this sounds like 4. And indeed, the theme, the melody, comes back to rest on the D as if we were in the key of D, so I could say we are in the key of D. And now we're back to A. Okay, so some really interesting music theory going on here as well. So we have, it starts off with an A7. Boom, 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 boom. Just hanging out on an A7. And then do-do-do, don't doogie, don't joogie, don't joogie, don't. Back to A. Jabba-do-doo, yabba-doogie, go. Then to the D7. Now here's what's really interesting. We're thinking of the A as being 1, which means A, B, C, D, D is 4. Now what happens is because we stay on the D for so long, the composer rewires your brain, is playing a magic trick with your ears, where now you start to think, oh, we've been in D for so long, all I've ever known is D to be 1, and all of a sudden you think of D as being the new 1, and then what happens is, after the D, there's a G7, which now feels like the new 4, as opposed to being the 7 of A, because think of it, we'll go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So we could, G, sorry, I had one finger busy holding a pick, G being 7. So instead of thinking of G being 7, instead of hearing G as being 7, we actually hear G as being 4, because we spent so long on D, D sounds and feels like the new 1. Love this. Type a 1 in the chat if you're having a nice time. Also type a 1 in the chat if you appreciate the level of cosplay commitment we've got going on today. All right, let's keep this thing rocking and rolling with DK Island Swing, one of my faves. Quick, go back inside the house and get the balloon. Ah, this is A. A is one, but it's a different type of A. It's a different quality of A. Come on, bass. Ooh. That right there is also the music of what happens when you fail, if you run out of lives. Now what's interesting is that I don't think we hear this music until at least level 2 or level 3. So what we're hearing is a bunch of different level music here. I don't think we hear this in the first level. Is it in level 1? Like when you go to get the rhino in the cave? And now looping back around. Okay, I'll break it down this time as we go through. So, bass is hitting A. This is an A sus4, G sus4, to a G major. A sus4, G sus4, G major. Now bass goes. A minor, E7, A minor, 1 to 5. A is 1, E is 5. E7 to A minor. There you go. G minor here now. Basically hanging out G minor 7. And then E flat. So E flat, C minor to G, which is going to be a 6, 4, 1 in G. And there's a really interesting thing that's happening here as well, is that, let me just confirm this real quick. Okay, so here's something that's really interesting. We have some mode mixture going on here in this second part. What is mode mixture? It's when we take notes that might not normally be found together in a lot of music you hear and bring them together. Now, maybe that's not the best definition of mode mixture, but it's going to get the job done, especially if you don't understand anything about music. So it's a combination of different notes that are right next to each other that normally would not be together in the same piece of music. And again, you can take issue with the word normally, but we're trying to paint with broad strokes here. So we have this thing going on where we have this G minor 7. And over this G minor 7, and G is now going to be our 1. So G is 1, A is 2, B is 3, C is 4, D is 5. And we... And these notes are D, E, C, back to D, over this G minor 7. Now, here's what's really interesting, is that once the chords start changing, it goes to an E flat. And this E flat is different than the E we heard one moment ago. They're right next to each other. You can see how my fingers are right next to each other. Musically, they are right next to each other. And it is relatively uncommon to have both an E natural and an E flat used prominently in music. And again, you know, if you're watching this and you're a music teacher and like, yeah, well, technically... Look, I'm painting with broad strokes. If you can figure out a better way of painting with broad strokes, please let me know in the comments and we'll rock and roll. So, E flat and E. So we have E flat, C minor, back to G in terms of the chords. And interestingly, right, E, C, D, now E flat, C minor, back to G minor. Again, E flat, C minor, G minor. Really, really, really cool stuff. To have both the E flat and the E natural being used in the same exact piece of music. Now, you may be saying, well, Dan, you said there was 7 notes, and now you're saying there's something called an E flat, and by my calculations, that would be 8. Well, technically, there's 12 notes that we use in music because sometimes we add extra notes by saying sharp or flat after an A, B, C, D, E, F, or G. But broadly speaking, there's 7 letters. That's A, B, C, D, F, G. Now, we can get 12 because we can say A sharp, or B flat. When 2 notes share the same name, so this note right here, this is both an A sharp and it is also a B flat. Now it's an A sharp, now it's a B flat. Now it's an A sharp, now it's a B flat. Type a 1 in the chat if these notes sound exactly the same to you and the only thing that's changing is the words coming out of my mouth. Type a 1 if this sounds the same to you. I just played twice in a row. Type a 1 if that sounds exactly the same to you. Does that sound the same? Type a 1 in the chat if this sounds the same to you. If you're on YouTube, type it in the comments. If you're on the YouTube Premiere, type it in the chat. Type a 1 if that sounds the same to you. Bob the Plant says, yep, that sounded the same to Bob the Plant. Bob the Plant, I agree. And so these 2 notes that sound exactly the same, these are called enharmonic equivalents, or just enharmonics. So enharmonic equivalents. So an enharmonic equivalent is when one sound, one note, like this gets 2 different names. So this is both A sharp and it is also B flat. So we have A sharp or B flat, B, C, C sharp or D flat, 2 names for the same sound, D sharp or E flat, E, F sharp or G flat, G sharp or A flat, and then we're back to A. So that's the 12 notes of music. Okay, let's get rockin' and rollin', a rockin' and a reelin', Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann, with Cranky's theme. Let's go say hi to Cranky. Oh. Okay, so what do we have here? We have essentially the main theme brought back to life with, we're back to the key of F major, just like the main theme was. We go F, boo-dee-dee, 4 to B flat, doo-doo, B to G minor, boo-dee-dee-da, to C, boo-doo-dee-dee, A minor, boo-doo-dee-da, B flat, boo-doo-dee, F, boo-doo-dee, F, cha-cha-cha, cha-cha, cha-cha. And that there is Cranky's theme. All right, let's check out Twave Queller was what I was about to say. Cave Dweller Concert. I know how to read. I know how to read. Dwayne the Rock Dweller. Ooh. I've never heard this part of the song before, that I can remember. I've never heard the first part. I don't think I've ever heard this part before. Type a 2 in the chat if you've never heard this part before. I'm not alone. I've heard this before. Hey, Jonah1031 first time chatter. So this starts off implying an A minor with an A, C, G, D. Or at least an A minor key. Okay, so this is really interesting. So what's happening here is you could call this going up one of the diminished scales, and you could also think about this as just going up by minor thirds. So we have G, down a half step to F sharp. Now we're going up from G, up a minor third to B flat down a half step to A. From A, up, well, because it's not quite perfect. It's not as perfect as I want it to be. From A, when I say perfect, I mean perfectly symmetrical and super easy to explain. So then from A, we're going up a minor third to C to B natural, and then, well, and then we're going up a major third. So it's not really diminished. I wanted it to be diminished. I wanted it to just be like, but it ain't. Now we could also think of this as well as going up a G minor scale and then descending by half step. So G, descend by half step. Now we're going to go to B flat, which is scale degree 3 in a G minor scale, descend by half step. Now we go to C, which is scale degree 4 in a G minor scale, descend by half step. Now we go to E flat, which is scale degree flat 6 in a G minor scale, descend by half step. Now what's interesting is that within this piece, it's actually mirroring the movement from A minor to G minor that we heard in part of Donkey Kong Island Swing. We heard that second part where it started off in A minor, so doing that. And in the second part, it goes to G minor. It goes G minor, and that's a... Right. The G minor that goes to E flat to the C minor. So we have so far not necessarily what we can call a theme, but indeed a pattern, sort of a more meta pattern we can pick up, that a lot of times the composer is choosing to start something in A minor, have an idea in A minor, and then go down a half step to G minor, which means they're starting with A as being 1 and then shifting to G as being 1, and that's twice so far that they've done that in 2 songs. So very interesting stuff in terms of larger patterns that we can start to pick up. Okay, let's check out Bonus Room Blitz. Oh, I do love the bonus rooms. Okay, so for the first time, we're in the key of C major. So C is now our 1, which means D is 2, E is 3, F is 4, G is 5, A is 6, and B is 7. Okay. This is actually a very common chord progression. We're going 1, 5, 6, 4. Yes, I come from a land down under. It's like so many songs have this chord progression. With 1, 5, 6, 4. Now I may have said from a land down under that's a different chord progression, but I don't think it is. I think I'm right on that. Now, let's go ahead and explore what happens next, because I actually did not pick up entirely what was happening next. Okay, and then it goes 1, 5, 4, 1. Cha, 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 cha. Oh. Ah, there we go. Okay. Okay, so likely we're gonna have C to an E7 to an F to a D in first inversion, or indeed an F sharp fully diminished 7. Either way, creating a dominant area to move us to the, ooh, maybe not to the 5. Ah, back to 1. Interesting. Okay, so the second half of this is going C, E7. E7, we're going to think of this as being technically the 5 of 7. To F, which is 4, to F sharp fully diminished 7. Back to C, G, F, C. Cha cha cha. Now, that movement right there, the you can hear that type of movement, I think, in some gospel music. Regardless, let's keep rocking and rolling to the next one, which is called aquatic ambiance. Oh my gosh, literally my favorite levels are the water levels, because you get the swordfish, and the swordfish is 150% my favorite bonus animal thing you get to use in this game. Hands down, no question. Please go ahead and put in the chat right now your favorite bonus animal to use from Donkey Kong Country. If you're watching on YouTube, put it in the comments, put it in the live chat if you're watching YouTube Premiere. Let me know. I want to know what your favorite bonus animal is. Rhino was, yeah, cool. Okay, fine. But man, that swordfish was money. I like the little move where you could like zoom forward. Love it. Okay, let's keep going. Swordfish vibes. On guard, the swordfish, yes. C minor to A flat major. F minor, which is our 4. Oh, I guess, yeah, actually. And then to 2. Let's go back and plug that 2 in. Okay, to F minor, which is 4. Let's try D minor half diminished. D half diminished. Yeah, I mean, it fits. It doesn't fit like a glove. There's something off in there. No, it doesn't sound weird. This does sound like Pink Floyd. This is very Pink Floydzy vibes. I mean, like... Right, and so it lends itself very well to sort of like slow guitar solos with lots of bends and things. Which is part of the reason why it might be giving you some Pink Floyd vibes. Okay, let's keep this thing rocking and rolling with a Candy's love song, where we get to save our progress. Hooray, huzzah, and hoorah. I'm gonna have to listen to this one again, because I don't remember this one too well. Yeah, I've never heard this whole thing. Okay, so some pretty interesting things here is that essentially we can boil down most of this music to a 1 and 5. The 1 and 5, the 1's going to be E, the 5 is going to be B. Pretty much. Yeah, I got part of it. So it's kind of like an E minor thing. And then, yeah, some maybe C7 to B7. It's like a flat 6 to 5 type of a thing. Back to E minor. Now you may be saying, well, Dan, I heard you say there's an A, B, a C, D, an E, an F, and a G. And then I heard you say, well, there's an A sharp or B flat, a B, a C sharp or D flat, a D sharp or an E flat, an E, an F sharp or G flat, a G sharp and A flat, and then we get back to A. But what's all this major minor talk going on? Well, what I'm doing is I'm describing the quality of different sounds. And these sounds, we call them chords. What's a chord? It's when we take one note, this is a note, this is a note, this is a note, this is a note. We take 2 or more notes, we put them together. That there, that's a chord. A little out of tune chord, but that's a chord. Now, that's a chord, that's a chord, that's a chord, that's a chord. Now, the way these different chords sound, not whether they're high or low, but the actual quality of the sound, dictates whether I use words like major, minor, augmented, diminished, 7. All these are describing different qualities of sounds. For example, here, this is a major chord. This is a minor chord. This is a dominant chord or a 7 chord. Back to a major chord. So it's gonna be a little bit easier if I keep the same note as being the lowest for you to hear the difference. So here's a major chord. Here's a minor chord. Ooh, type a 2 if you can hear the difference in the chat. Type a 2 in the chat if you can hear the difference. If you're watching the video on demand, type a 2 in the comments. Here's major. Here's minor. Type a 2 if you can hear the difference between major and minor. Now, it's interesting that the major and the minor, they're starting on the same note. F is 1 in both cases. But the quality, the actual feeling, the texture of the sound is changing radically between the two. Indeed, major can feel kind of happy and hopeful, and minor can feel kind of like a rainy day, kind of like pensive, like I'm sitting with a towel on drinking some chamomile tea in the autumn time in the eastern United States as the leaves change to a golden brown. You know, that type of a vibe. So it's the different vibes that the sounds and the combinations of notes give. That's the quality of the sound. Okay, let's keep it going with Bad Boss Boogie. Let's boogie it on down. Oh. No one missing the cause of the vulture? Yeah, the beaver. This is minor chords being moved up and down. Okay, so let's actually understand what's making this sound the way it does. Shout out to all our new followers. Thank you, Lucid Sigma. Sorry if I'm not calling you guys out as you follow. I apologize. I'm so fixated on delivering you a quality experience here with getting this music together and also playing and also monitoring the chat. So I apologize if I miss calling you out. So thank you so very much, everyone who has followed. And if you're new follower and you haven't chatted yet, go ahead and say hi in the chat and I'll say hi to you and give you a shout out that way. How about them apples? So, an interesting thing that's happening here in terms of creating the sound is that essentially it's a minor chord being moved up and down chromatically. Chroma means like colors. So in Greek, so chroma, chromatic would be like all the colors. So when we think of all the colors, it means like all the notes. So we have note 1, note 2, note 3, note 4. And see how we're just going up in order? You can see my fingers are just going down on the guitar neck, right in order. I'm not skipping anything. And so we have essentially an A minor, a B flat minor, a B minor, and a C minor. Now it gets a little bit more interesting because we're actually alternating back and forth sometimes between the 1 and the 4. There was a third chord in there, but we're not going to talk about that because I didn't pick it up immediately. So we have the 1. So that little B dot, that right there is switching between a D minor to an A minor, and then a B flat minor to an E flat minor, the B minor to an E minor, a C minor to a G minor. Back and forth. And by taking this chord that feels like a cold autumn day, this minor chord, it feels a little sad. It feels, oh, he left me and he didn't call me back. You know what I mean? It's like, it's got this sad feeling to it. And so by taking this sad feeling chord and moving it up and down in this chromatic way, it makes it feel a little creepy, makes it feel you're a little apprehensive of it, makes it sound a little dangerous, and indeed, it describes musically what's going on, which is a boss fight. So we're taking a sad sound, but by moving it up and down and going a little bit faster, this sad sound now just doesn't sound sad, it also sounds a little bit threatening, a little bit unsettling as well. Okay, let's keep this thing rocking with Minecart Madness. Type a 3 in the chat, comment if you're watching this, if you played this on the SNES and it took you at least 4 hours of gameplay to figure out you did not have to hold down the go faster button and then also press the jump button at the same time. And then if you're like me and you trained your muscle memory to hold down the go faster button and then actually just like collapse your thumb on the controller to do the jump by collapsing your thumb on the controller, and that your thumb was totally shot by the end of the minecart level. Because like, ooh, like let me know those 3s if your thumb was shot by the end of this minecart level, because I'll tell you, mine was. I see Incompetent Hero and Try Lighting, yeah. Kind of like Backstage Sally. Backstage Sally by the drummer. I'll remember later. This also reminds me of something else. Okay, so as we're looping here, I'm gonna be breaking it down as we go. So what's really interesting is that this ends up really sitting and being in the key of B flat minor, which means B flat is 1, C is 2, D flat is 3, E flat is 4, F is 5, G flat is 6, A flat is 7. Now, in this first part, it's not at all sitting in B flat. It starts in B flat minor, then it goes to D flat, and then to like A flat, then A. So it's jumping around a little bit. It's doing some chromatic things, making you feel a little unsettled, not giving you a home base for your ear to really stick to and say, oh, okay, I know where the 1 is. The 1 is being moved around. It's sort of like if you ever watched a musician do that thing where they put a ball into the cups and they move the cups around. It's like that, but with music. You don't really know where the 1's going to end up being. Now here, we're solidly in 1, B flat minor. To 5, F7. And then back from 5, headed straight back to 1. To now a G flat major 7. Back to F7. Back to B flat minor. So right there we could summarize the chord progression or the series of chords, the series of harmonies in this piece of music essentially at its heart to be B minor, F7, F7, B minor, B minor, F7, F7, G flat major 7 back to the F7, then bringing us back home to the 1. All right, let's keep this thing rocking and rolling with Life in the Mines. It's a hard mine life for us. So we're starting off with a C note here. G minor now. B flat major. C. D minor. E again. Turn around. Yeah. Great ears and confident hero. So G is 1, B flat is 3, C is 4, back to 1. D minor now, 5. Okay. Second loop through, I'm gonna take a little guitar solo, just cause. Cause why? Cause I'm wearing a monkey costume, and today feels like a good day for it. So starting off with C, so it's like the mood is set with 4. Even though we don't know it's 4. Right now we think this is 1 because we haven't heard the G yet to establish that the G is in fact 1. Sorry. An interesting mode mixture here as well, because an actual E used as opposed to E flat, even though there is a C minor that has E flat in it. So we can see the mode mixture we heard the first time we heard G minor present here as well, which is super cool and really fascinating. That same mode mixture between having the E natural and the E flat in the same piece. Well, that's a little something for you. Pretty cool stuff. All right, let's keep this rocking and rolling with the next one, which is Voices of the Temple. I love the temple. Temple level is so much fun. Like swinging on the ropes and things, and finding the extra levels when you climb up to the ropes and you keep going up. Oh, and that one place where you have to drop down to get in the barrel. Oh, so cool. Like you can just see the barrel at the very bottom of the screen. So we're going between the G and an A flat here. A flat. Really with C at the fundamental root of everything. I love this tune. Modulating up a half step, changing where the one is now. The one is now C sharp or D flat. Before it was C. Going up now, D is the one. Interesting also the qualities of chords that are being implied here. So both major and minor chords. C sus4. Ooh, love it. Boy, it's getting hot in this costume. I'm gonna turn my fan up a little bit. Not that it's gonna get through this, but. Major here. I'm gonna look away because I'm gonna tune my guitar real quick, but don't go anywhere. So a very interesting piece that I was actually, fortunately, I've heard it quite a bit, so I was able to actually break down some of the things that were going on in real time as the piece was happening. So we won't stay too much longer here. We're actually going to go straight to Forest Frenzy. Let's check it out. Also, type a 2 in the chat if you remember the feeling of relief and joy, the fact that you got to that temple level, because I remember feeling so much relief and joy when I got to that temple level. I was like, oh yes, finally something different. I beat the mines, got to the temple. Type a 2 in the chat if you also share that feeling with me of relief when you got to the temple. Okay, let's check out Forest Frenzy. Essentially a D7 here. We're just hanging out on one chord. That's right, there wasn't a save point till after the temple. Now up to F7. A7. Back to our 1. So right there, hanging out, inspired, hearing a little bit like, ooh, what was a piece we heard before that sounded kind of like it? Wow, I'm going to forget the name of the song. Oh, we're not done with Forest Frenzy. Oh, yes, we are done with Forest Frenzy. So Forest Frenzy, hanging out with... There you go. So it's using notes from a D minor pentatonic. The melody is, but the chord is a D major. So this combination of this minor melody juxtaposed against this major chord. This is something we've heard a lot from blues. This goes all the way back to blues. And yes, you can trace it to other places, but mostly I'm going to focus on this coming from the blues, an incredible American art form, specifically Delta blues, like Robert Johnson, going all the way back there. And this combination of minor and major being mixed together to create so much more just delicious musical flavor, which indeed is mode mixture. Because not only do we have an F natural being used in the melody, we have an F sharp being used in the chord. And then the... really cool stuff. So that juxtaposition of a minor scale over a major chord is a very effective tool to use to create this interesting sort of umami. It's like music umami flavor. Very cool stuff. Let's check out Treetop Rock. I did not like this level. Literally my heart rate just increased hearing the music. Type a 3 in the chat if your heart rate just increased from hearing the music. Ooh. It's got this little rush of adrenaline. I was like, oh gosh. Oh, what theme is that from that we've heard already? Shabadum, 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 shabadum. Was it the caves? Yeah. F, so C to F, 1 to 4. To 5, G. To 5, G. Back to C. So we have 1, 4, 5 with this delightful melody being played across the top, but in terms of the underpinning of the actual music, it's 1, C minor, 4, F minor, 5, G minor, maybe G major, being implied there, but essentially 1, 4, 5. A little poison for you there. Okay, let's keep it going with Funky's Fugue. Oh. Why is it called Funky's Fugue? That doesn't even make sense. This is not a fugue. Yeah, orchestra hits, let's go. A minor to F. A is 1. 1. Here's A minor. Going back to F. To E. A minor is 1. F is 6. E5. Yeah. Okay, playing could be a little tighter there, but you get the idea. It's 1. You're hanging out on 1 for a whole long time. So the entire time's going. Sorry. That's all A minor. And then in that second section, A minor to F, A minor to F to E, which then brings us all the way back to home, which is 1. All right, let's keep this thing rocking and rolling with Misty Menace. I don't even remember this. So an F to an A flat. F minor. All right, this time too, I'll break the chords down for you. So F note to an A flat note. Oh, so pretty. Oh, hold on. So we have the first time through, we can call this an E flat over F. And then it goes to a kind of. Let's get that second chord. Third chord is the E flat over A flat. Let's grab that second chord real quick. That sounds like a 4 minor 6 to me. But it's not quite. Something about that chord is throwing me off, and I can't figure out what it is. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll get this for you. Maybe. Oh. Okay, so let me explain to you what just totally threw me off. E flat was 1, and I knew E flat was 1, and I'm sitting there playing a B flat minor 6. Going, why isn't this sounding right? It should sound right, and it's because I was getting confused. I'm in a hot costume, I've been streaming for over an hour, my brain is not working the way it should be, and I didn't count up to 4. Because had I counted up to 4, I would have gone E flat, F, G, A flat, not B flat. I'm like, what is going on? Why isn't this working? It's because I didn't do a good job counting. Okay, so E flat to A flat minor 6. I literally said 3 minutes ago, it sounds like a 4 minor 6 chord, because I know what a 4 minor 6 chord sounds like, and I know that's what it is. And I'm playing it, I'm going, why isn't it sounding right? Okay, cool. So, there we go. A flat minor 6. Yeah, it sounds like there may be an add 4 in there. A flat minor 6. And so let's talk about that. That's a 1 to 4. Now this is a 1 to 4 I don't think we've heard before. We've heard many different 1 to 4s indeed throughout. So many different OSTs. We've heard 1 to 4 in so many different ways, so many different qualities. Remember we talked about the qualities, how the chord actually sounds, the feeling, the vibe of the chord. We've heard so many different qualities of chord going from 1 to 4. I think this is the first time we've had a 1 over 2, because if we think about it, E flat, F is 2, so 2 is actually the lowest note of this E flat chord. So it's an E flat over a 2, it's like we're adding in a 2 on the bottom of it. Then going to an A flat minor 6, which is a 4 minor, which creates a, yeah, maybe we could call it a minor plagal cadence. Then back to, oh, delightful, delicious. So yummy. And now noises, if we get any other chords. I think we did. F minor, which is 2. To a C minor add 4. Cool stuff. All right, let's keep this rocking and rolling with the next one. Northern Hemisphere in the north. King in the north. King in the north. Sorry to literally everyone from Yorkshire for doing that. I apologize. It's my fault. I own it, and I am sorry. I think Yorkshire's in the north. Yeah, it is. Oh, I'm sorry. You what? So C minor here. E flat minor. Ooh, maybe not. Back to C minor. C is 1 in general in this piece. C is 1. Flat 2, D flat. C minor. A little bit of an F minor there. Back to C minor. C sus 2. A flat major. Again, that's sus 2. Okay, and that's pretty much it for this. It's going to loop a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and jump over to Ice Cave Chant. Remember, as always, if you have questions about the OST, please feel free to put them in the chat, and I'd love to answer any questions that you have to the best of my abilities. Okay, let's do Ice Cave Chant. Here we is. A major. It was like very sting at the beginning. No, it's like Marvin Gaye. No, not Marvin Gaye. Come on, Dan. Lionel Richie, Dancing on the Ceiling. I also missed that fourth chord. Ah, it's a 2-5, essentially. So this is 1, and it's what's happening above is like a 1 sus 4 to 1 to sus 2. Kind of a flat 7 to 2 to 5. Back to 1. Really cool stuff. loving this. Now I'll explain to you what I mean by sus. Sus is another quality of chord. And what we do is we count up the musical alphabet from the 1 of whatever chord runs. So in this case, A is 1, B is 2, C sharp is 3, D is 4, E is 5. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 1, 3, 5. Play 1, 3, 5 together all at the same time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 3, 5, 5, 3, 1. Playing 1, 3, 5 all together at the same time. This creates a major triad. Now what happens is if we switch the 3 to be 4, so it means we have, instead of 1, 3, 5, we have 1, 4, 5. We get a sus 4 chord when the chord is sus. Then we can come back to 1, 3, 5, and then we can go 1, 2, 5. 1, 2, 5 is a sus 2 chord. So we have a major, sus 4, major, sus 2. And the sus stands not for suspicious, not for suspect, not for suspenders. No, it stands for suspended, because we're taking the 3rd and we're suspending it up to the 4th, or suspending it down to the 2nd, a suspended chord. Okay, let's check out Fear Factory. E is 1. Problem 1. 4, A minor. Back to 1, E. C, 6 to 4 to 1. Ah, 6, 4, 1. We heard that all the way back at the beginning in G minor. Four, 1. 1. 4, 1. 6, 4, 1. Specifically flat 6, 4, 1. Here repeats again. Now what's interesting is we've actually heard flat 6, 4, 1 before in this OST. It was a different key, so a different note was 1. Before G was 1, we heard, G minor, E flat, C minor, G flat. Here we hear E minor, C, A minor, back to E minor, but this is the second time we've heard the same relationship between chords, and indeed the same quality of chords being used, but with a different one. So before one was G, now one is E. So you can actually see one of the reasons why you can have a feeling of coherence throughout an OST is that you take the same chord progressions but start them on a different one. So it's different, but also a little bit similar. Let's keep it rocking and rolling with Gangplank Galleon. Okay, so let's talk about some interesting things going on here. Number one, how it starts. So just like we heard in the main theme, how the main theme started in F major and then modulated to the relative minor of D minor, guess what happens here for the final boss theme? The same exact function of harmony. It starts in F major. F to 4 to B flat to C, which is 5, back to 1. F, then dum 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 4, sharp 4, half the minute 7, 5, and then either we can call this C sharp, half diminished 7, or indeed it's an A in first inversion. Either way, it's creating a secondary dominant in terms of pushing us towards the D minor. Secondary dominant is when you pick a 5 of something that normally wouldn't be there. So this 5 of D minor, which is A. So if D is 1, A is 5, which now pushes us into the relative minor, which is D minor. So in an exact mirroring of the main theme, the boss, the final boss, starts in F major and then transforms into being D minor. And then once we actually get into the real sort of boss fight, there's D minor, B flat, C, D minor. So the chord progression is going to be 1, flat 6, flat 7, 1. This is one of the most common chord progressions to start with a minor chord that exists in the world across many different genres. You can hear this chord progression everywhere. You got me on my knees, Layla. I'm begging, darling, please. Yeah. There must be some. There's there's confusion. I can't get no relief. Businessmen, they drink my wine. Plowmen dig my earth. None will ever online. So many different songs use these chords in different combinations, sure, in different chord progressions, but having a minor 1, flat 6, flat 7, super common chord progression. Not common as in bad, but common as in found in many different places and used because it's very, 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 very effective. Super cool stuff, and also interesting to see this mirroring happening, bringing us all the way from the main theme through here at the end. Let's listen to K Rules Cacophony. I mean, in my opinion, not very cacophonous. That sounded actually really beautiful, in my opinion. So C minor, C is 1, to B flat, which is 7, flat 7. Well, a little more going on right there. Back to C minor, see if I can grab that. Yeah, so that's me like an A flat to a G minor. Well, not quite an A flat. Yeah, so like an A flat sus2. So like an A flat sus2 to a G flat sus2 to a F major, then back to 1. Very beautiful, in my opinion. Sounds great. I don't think that's a cacophony. I think it sounds delightful. Let's check out our last piece for today, the Credits Concerto. Fire away. Here we go. Let's do this thing. G is 1. D is 5. C is 4. To a G, with G underpinning the whole thing. This is so pretty. Ain't it pretty? Oh, love it. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If you're on Twitch, please follow, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe, crush that notification bell. Let me know what you thought of this in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Would love your feedback on this format of the stream. Not just the fancy hat and the fancy tie and the fancy guitar and my most beatable of chests, but indeed how you enjoyed this entire stream. This was a new format, going back to do something that I have heard before, indeed a game I have beaten and spent many, many happy hours, not just with myself, but with my family, playing this with my dear sister, and oh, just so many delightful, delightful memories tied to this game and the people that I love. So thank you all so very much on going on this journey with me. Thank you for providing me this opportunity to share my love and my passion for music with you, and I hope maybe you learned just a little bit of music along the way as we went on this journey. So thank you all so very much. Like, subscribe, crush that notification bell, and I will see you next time. Take care, and goodbye!